All right, whatever, guys.
Isaiah, you obviously had a lot of minutes and opportunities towards the end of the season. Just how much do you feel like that kind of gave you some momentum heading into the offseason?
Yeah, that was definitely a big confidence builder. Especially at the beginning of the year, my minutes were a little bit more sporadic. So obviously at the end of the year we had some guys out with injury and whatnot. So being able to finish the year strong was definitely a confidence builder going into the summer.
Coach has given you a lot of credit for your professionalism. You've been put in a lot of different situations throughout the year. Just how did your teammates or even the coaching staff kind of support you through all the different situations you're in this season?
Yeah, it's easy with this team. We have a really good group of guys. We have a young group of guys who, we're all still trying to find our footing in the league, and we're trying to establish ourselves as in our different roles. So, I think for me, being the versatile player I am, that's just another bonus to my game.
You talk about being versatile. I think you might have been the player in the Thunder that had experience with the most different lineups in this entire year. Just what does it mean to be inserted into so many lineups and to kind of take on the role of being the most consistent player on the floor?
That's huge. I think that was one thing for me coming into this season was to be more consistent, as well as other goals like shooting the ball more, shooting the ball better, but overall just being a more efficient player, more consistent player. So the fact that I was able to do that in so many different lineups is definitely encouraging, and especially in a team where we don't have a lot of teams who are established playoff teams or whatnot, they might have their established 5, 6, 7 guy rotation. And, obviously with the young team, we're trying to figure that out still. So I think being able to play with different guys was a huge bonus.
How much has your game grown? You've been here a couple of years, since your Nebraska days, Maverick days, now here. How much has just your overall game grown?
Man, it's grown a lot. Like you said, since even talking to Sam just a little bit ago, from the day I got here, when I got traded from the Mavericks, I think my game is just, it's done I don't even know the right word for it. It's grown a lot. I'll say that. I think even from last season, statistically, it's grown a lot. Physically, I've grown a lot, being able to guard multiple positions and being able to be confident in that. I think, but the thing is, this year being my second year really playing, I think I have a lot of room to still grow. So I'm excited for that.
Did you think you had this in you, or did it surprise you? Or do you always think you had this room for that?
My time in Nebraska, I didn't pick Nebraska to make it to the NBA. Even my freshman year, I wasn't starting at Nebraska, so the NBA was never really on my radar until I started doing things that NBA players do, and I was doing them consistently in college. And I think that my skill has exceeded where I thought I could be when I was in college. But I think now, going up against MVP caliber players and playing really well against them and just seeing what I can do in the NBA, I think my confidence is just growing and growing. So I don't know what my ceiling is. I'm excited to find it though.
Is there something specific that you want to work on in the off season?
I wouldn't say specific. I would say that just I would say that I've learned a lot in these first 3 years in the league, and I think that just taking those experiences into the summertime is going to allow me to come back an even better player. I think that I've always had a really good work ethic. So I think that, my work ethic is never a question, but I think just learning what to work on, not wasting time in the summertime working on things I'm not going to use. I think I have a really good idea of what my role is on this team especially and what I can do to help this team win.
Isaiah, go ahead, Jack.
This is going to be your first legit full off season. How much are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to be able to, have my home base, and just consistently work. I think one thing that, like you said, is my first real full off season. My rookie year, I had surgery, and last year was kind of sporadic as far as where I was at, who I was working out with. I think this year is gonna be really big to, just be consistent in what I'm doing, and I have my plan already set out, so I'm looking forward to that.
Isaiah, you talked about your personal development. I'm assuming other guys would have maybe similar stories of how they feel like they've developed. Lou was in here a second ago talking about how you guys committed as a team to compete all year. Does that individual development, the excitement that creates within each of you, does that dovetail into why we saw this team still competing and playing hard throughout the whole year?
Yeah, for sure. I think the competition comes from, I think the group of guys we have, although we're really young and really inexperienced, just the fact that coming back from, I think we led the league in double-digit comeback wins. That's just a testament to our resilience and our competitiveness, and I think that in many cases, a team full of young guys who might not be as competitive, they might have folded a lot easier, and they might have, it could have been really easy for a young team to use that as an excuse, like we don't have the experiences in coming back, or we might not have the physicality to come back. But I think that was the one thing I loved about this team, is just the amount of fight we have, and the competitiveness we have, and just the fight.
Do you think that's something that is learned, can competitiveness be learned, or is it more guys bringing it on an individual basis?
I think it definitely could be learned and worked on. It's definitely a skill. I think that sometimes, anybody can be discouraged. But I think it's definitely a skill to have that fight in you, and that competitiveness. And I think the coaches did a really good job of instilling that in that team, or in our team this year.
Lou mentioned that one of the goals is to be a playoff team, maybe next year and in the upcoming future. When you look back on this season and you see that you guys have come back from double-digit losses, how much do you think this season like this is going to actually propel you in maybe the next season, when you could be making a playoff contending type of season and you have those comebacks to fall back from and know you have experience in winning those games?
Yeah, obviously the comebacks are really encouraging. I think something that's even more encouraging is just the experiences that we all gained from this year, and hopefully not having to come back from as many games. That would be an even better situation for us. I think that we all learned a lot about ourselves, and I think going into next season, I'm not sure exactly what. Obviously everybody wants to make the playoffs, and that's a goal. That's something that we all want to experience. Coach Dagnall talks about that a lot, and how he's been a part of a lot of playoff series, as an assistant. And every time he speaks about it, you could tell it's just more special. It means a lot, and that's something that we all want to experience. So I would say that's the ultimate goal, and that's something that we're all working towards. But it's not gonna come easy, and we know that. And so I think that's the goal, but I think the process is what excites me the most.
Isaiah, you had an interesting last week. You played with three guys that just got called up, and all of a sudden you were the veteran. Your combined games all time was more than their. Your games were more than all theirs combined. Mm-hmm. What was that like, playing with new faces and new guys and such inexperience?
Yeah, it was definitely it was a fun experience. Obviously I played with those guys in the G League. So I had a small sample size of playing with them already. And those guys, they loved the opportunity. It was fun to be out there with them. They kind of took on the character of our team. There was no back down. There was no they weren't out there playing timid. They were out there attacking the game. And those guys are great players also. So it was definitely fun. It was exciting to see those guys play 40 minutes. I don't think they saw that happening earlier this year. But it's always fun to play with those guys, and they earn the opportunity. Playing with the G League, how they responded to adversity throughout the whole season. They earned the opportunity, so it was good to get out there with those guys.
Consensus on Mark is that he's great to play for and he's a player's coach, but 2 years in specifically for you, how has the experience been?
Yeah, he's been obviously I've only been a part of 2 organizations, but great coach. In my eyes, he is a coach who he lets us explore our games, especially with such a young team. I think that's really important. He's not the type of coach that you're going to be out there scared to play for. He encourages you to make mistakes. He encourages you to learn from your mistakes, and I think that's a great quality of a coach of a young team. So I love playing for Mark. He's a great coach, and he's a great leader for our team.
How are you approaching this offseason, knowing that there's going to be some sort of roster turnover, more draft picks are going to be coming in? How do you sort of handle that personally, and just using it as motivation going into next year?
Yeah, there's always external motivation, for that sense. The NBA is, one of the most competitive. It's a competitive job, obviously. There's however many basketball players in the world. There's only 450 spots, so there's always that pressure. And the one thing I've learned is it never really goes away. As a rookie, you're trying to catch it. You're trying to get your feet wet in the league, and you're trying to make your spot. you know, that pressure is still there in my 4th year now. And, you know, even guys who are veterans who have been around the league for, you know, 9, 10 seasons, like, they feel that pressure as well. So I don't think you can really think about that too much. You can't really think about what you can't control. I think you can only focus on what you control. And for me, that's getting better this summer.
Anyone else in the room? I think we got one on the Zoom. Christos Saltas. Go ahead, Christos.
Yeah, Isaiah, you're doing well. What would you like to carry over from this season to next season? Speaking about your game, speaking about the effort and the approach that you brought to the game this season.
I mean, I don't know. I think this season I did a really good job of shooting the ball. You know, shot the ball really well from 3. I think that my attempts could be higher, but that's the one thing I want to just continue to work on. That's the one thing that's going to set me apart most at my position. You know, being a small ball center, having the other teams, you know, 7-footers come out and guard me on the perimeter. You know, continuing to use my 3-point shot as a weapon and open up the drive for myself. And you know, once I'm able to do that, you know, I think that my offensive game really opens up and I'm able to help the team out a lot.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
Sweet. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Isaiah.